Hello, welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. I'm your host, Chris Thompson, and welcome to another episode. The first thing I want to do on this episode is something I haven't done before. I want to do a shout out to a viewer, and the viewer is Marie Louise Zamberg, something like that, 3025. And this was a day ago, and I think that this was on my thing about the trolley tarot, and she wrote, I have ordered these books and are waiting for it tomorrow. I am so excited. Thank you for the presentation. Well, thank you too. I'm glad I could be a help and actually point you to the right direction and some of on your spiritual path. And don't do everything I do because I said I do it. Maybe ceremonial magic isn't right for you. Maybe you like other stuff. Maybe there's something stuff. But this is the stuff I know about, and I know like I'm trying to learn about what's the other one? The other one is um, come on, chaos magic. But the problem with chaos magic is it's really hard to put like a finger on what it actually is. Like there's so many different variations, and there's not like one standard thing of saying what chaos magic is. The only thing I think that's the same is that it's taking your ability to take other things, other spiritual things, and kind of weave it into your own spirituality. But that's kind of what everything is in the process of now. Like that's the whole point of stuff. Like you don't like. I don't even know if I want to call myself a ceremonial magician because that's what I am now. But it might not be what I'm gonna be. I don't know. 10 years from now, something else. I do prefer the term occultist because it kind of sounds there's kind of a there was always a scholastic, a scholarly thing to being an occultist, and even it doesn't have that bad rap like it used to have. But people will often like to use the term esotericism. Same thing. It means hidden. Okay, so the books I think she was talking about was the Lon Milo Duquette's what is it? Understanding the um, Aleister Crowley Thoth deck. And I think the other thing that she referred to as a book is this. It's actually a tarot deck. It does have a book within it, but it's the Aleister Crowley tarot, which is a variation of the Thoth tarot. And so, like I said, I'm glad I could point you in the right direction on some of these books. And because reading is a big part of if you want to be into the occult, into magic, witchcraft, whatever it is. I mean, in witchcraft, I have kind of a problem with people that call themselves witches because it was used as an insult. Now, they kind of do the same thing where they say, well, we make it ours. Like black people who use the N word, they say, well, we make it ours. We take the power from the racists. They take the power from the people that used to murder people like us. the witches, the witchcraft. And the thing is, at one time, the church didn't murder people just for witchcraft. It was specifically for stuff that had to do with demonic stuff or just, well, the first thing they did, it wasn't even any of that. Like, they didn't care as long as it didn't do what they called, oh, what do they call that shit? In Catholicism, they call it sacrilege, but it's called like hereticism. Like if you're a heretic, that you're going, the first people that were really um, charged with that kind of crime were actually monks that were using the Bible in a different way, where they used it as a spell and they used these instead of using it in a good way, they used it to try to curse people that they didn't like, and so that's where it all came from. And then it ended up in just the complete and total like slaughter of people who most of the times weren't even involved in the occult at all. So I don't know, and, and I'm new at this thing of doing these videos. I've been doing videos for years, but mostly on politics, like news type stuff. And I never really intended to talk about this kind of stuff online mainly because I didn't want people who knew me who might not who think I'm either losing my mind or I'm just gullible or I'm whatever. But no, you see, and I haven't been doing this very long as a able to actually. Well, I've been studying different forms of mysticism and stuff for like decades, 20, probably close to 25 years, but I've only been actually practicing ceremonial magic or any type of magic for the past 3 years. I mean, there was some dabbling when I was younger, and you don't want to dabble. Dabbling is just someone who doesn't know what they're doing, screwing with stuff they don't. That's way beyond their understanding. So you don't want to dabble. You want to make a commitment of some sort, and you want to do more than just study this stuff. You want to study philosophy, which I need to get more into studying philosophy, history, um, I don't know, sociology, all of these different kind of things, and anthropology. Anthropology is really good because um, anthropologists have been studying like magic in tribal communities and stuff, and a lot of the people who founded the Golden Dawn were actually originally anthropologists and stuff. They like translated these things from whatever language into English or whatever, So it's been a thing that's been a historical thing, kind of a intellectual endeavor, and so you want to know things about the world. You don't want to completely cut yourself off from politics. I like main politics, a lot of stuff. Like I'm no longer into necessarily like politics as in political stuff, but I am very concerned in what's been going on in Palestine, which is historical Palestine, and what's happening to them and what's being done to them by these far right Israeli politicians, but they've been murdering them for since back in the day, whatever. And that's something I I'm trying to study up more on, that I've known more about, and stuff like that. Sometimes I just have to stop. Sometimes I have to just like, and you might need to do this if there's something that maybe not completely get away with, but like if something's like really getting you upset and really frustrating you and like scrambling your brains, it's like sometimes you need to take a step back from that and just kind of refresh. Because I mean, seriously, if you look about, you're into world affairs, and especially when you're into something where nothing but lies have been told since the beginning of what, like 60 years ago. Because really, it really began 60 years ago. It began with the Balfour Declaration. Well, I don't want to get into that because people don't seem to like that much of what I'm doing. They kind of get bored with it, I guess. I mean, it kind of is lame. My point was that you got to study all kinds of things, not just the magic stuff. You've got to enrich yourself because, oh yeah, like I was saying, I've only been doing magic for 3 years, but I don't mean I've done it for 3 years every once in a while. I have been doing a series of rituals every day, every single day for 3 years. I haven't missed a single day, and this is what you need to do. This is how you need to put yourself into it. Like right now, my thing is I'm trying to get into the tarot, and I'm realizing that maybe I won't have use of it uh, um, as a, come on, brain work, a divinatory system as divination, but I've found out that there's way more to it. That tarot is a very powerful magical tool, and it can be used because of people like, well, mainly because of what is his name? Anton? No, not Anton Levy. That's wrong guy. Not the Satanist guy. Who's Levy? Levi? Eliphas Levi. Actually, I think it's pronounced Levy, but Eliphas Levi. He was the guy who took the tarot and figured out all these things, how to connect Kabbalistic ideology with that, and it becomes a powerful instrument of introspection to discovering who you are, seeing who you are, and working on changing that by connecting them to the paths of the Sephiroth of the, I think it's actually Sferot. So connecting to the Sferot of the Tree of Life, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, and So, okay, and it's what they've done. It's kind of a lot of it's, well, even whether it's Christian versions of, well, no, that's the Christian version of Kabbalah is a lot like the um, Jewish version, original Jewish version, where it was, you did have this other stuff, but it was all about interpreting the Bible and learning from that, and like I kind of I've done stuff like that. I do like studying religions and stuff, but I don't get anything out of that. I get stuff out of the practical version of stuff that they came up with of how to use stuff. You don't need to have all the religious stuff. If you want the religious context in it, then that's fine, man. I mean, I like religion. I like studying about religion. That doesn't mean I'm going to do everything exactly because of some religion. No, I'm not going to be an idiot. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that you're an idiot if you are part of a particular religion. But I mean, and you say, well, what is that? Well, I guess you could consider what I'm into a religion, but it's more like a spiritual science. It's more like a way of bringing yourself to a higher level of vibration of existence, of becoming more than what you are. And that's what it's all about. And if you get that from, I don't know, like Wicca, if you get that from, like I said, come on, blah, blah, blah. Here I go again. What was I thinking of? If you get that from chaos magic, if you get that from, I don't know, perhaps Thelema, which is actually a religion, which is what's his name? Aleister Crowley's religion, or Rosicrucian, whatever, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it until you start living your life by it and it starts controlling you to the point of, oh, you can't do. I'm against anything that's dogmatic. I'm against people saying you got to do this to go to heaven or not go to hell or this and that and this and that. And it all just becomes this thing of being ruled by fear and running around trying to keep a bunch of rules and from breaking a bunch of rules and regulations that were only meant to control the people's bodies and keep them from controlling who they do or don't have sex with or whatnot, or whether they even have sex with someone of the opposite sex. It's stuff like that. It's that kind of control, and this thing of that's the stuff. The dogma, it ruins things. The freaking that's why these Christians that are more interested in telling people what to do and what they can or can't do with their body, or telling people that they're going to hell if they don't believe a particular way they do. Well, all they're trying to do is control you. They're controlled and they want to control you just like everything else. That's not what spirituality should be. That's not what religion was ever really meant to be. I mean, maybe it depends. There were a lot of rules in the Old Testament, but to be a Christian, and you're supposed to be symbolizing what Christ was and symbolizing love, and you're okay. You don't hate them, but you don't like. If you really love somebody, you don't say, "Oh, well, we believe what you're doing is wrong, so you're going to go to hell if you don't turn from your wicked ways." Well, what about you? What about the ones that are telling you this? Like the what's the dude? I don't remember his name. There's a Christian guy, anti-gay guy, would just go on and how evil gay people were. And dude got caught with a dick in his mouth. Like the hypocrisy of things like that. Hey, I have no problem that the guy had a dick in his mouth. If he likes that, that's his thing. But don't go around telling everybody else not to put a dick in their mouth um, you don't think you should. Like, if you got a dick in your mouth, don't tell people not to be gay, because you're obviously gay, whoever this pastor was. And, oh, well, I was weak. No, you're gay. So he's one of those closet assholes. And this is the problem I have with religion and stuff. Like, because that's one thing that's a big thing in the Abrahamic religions is this anti-gay shit and the misogynistic crap that the man's in charge and the woman should do whatever the man tells her to do. Why are we clinging on to symptoms of an age where people didn't know how the world worked and the universe worked, and we're just pretty much afraid of anybody who was different, of them to the point of murdering them. And we're still clinging on to that. That's what our society is built on. We got people that are murdering people for land and for religion and all kinds of stuff. We got people that a country that's being allowed to do whatever they want just because they happen to have some like interpretation of Judaism, which and it doesn't make it okay. But it's the same like the people who like the Muslims who kill people for different religions. But this thing, this which wasn't a thing until that kind of shit was imported into the Middle East. There was before people came and brought in their ideologies and stuff. Before the Jews came, who would later form Israel, when they came over from Europe and started murdering Palestinians and pushing them off the land, that and shit like that, and how they started doing things around there, that's when all the animosity started. I mean, that's how it is. And the thing is, it's the way this world has been. It's people killing each other over race or religion, or they're pissed off because their eyes are bluer and their hair is blonder, and like we need to break away from this old world. This is the thing we learn in magic, because we learn to break away from the things, and it's easier said than done. I'm trying to break away from these things that that don't work for me anymore. Things that are not living up to the way I want my life to be. And so this is the same way. We've got to take these things that are from an older age that no longer serve us anymore. So the stories and some of the things are good. I'd never ever say ban religion. I'd never say, oh, we shouldn't have Bibles, we shouldn't have Korans, we should. No, because that stuff does enrich us, but we got to look at this stuff from like an anthropological thing and see why the people in these days believed what they believed, and if the things don't hold up to weight of what things are going on now, then you get rid of it. It's like even magic has to evolve. And that was what Crowley was trying to do in creating Dilemma. He was trying to take the best things in religion and in magic and stuff and try to make it into one thing, not a better thing. Try to evolve it, but then people get stuck into things like that. And sorry, I burped a little bit. Got some gas here. Not that kind of gas. But anyway, hey, I can't be serious all the time, man. Gotta goof around. That's part of, I've had a lot of stuff in my life that's happened to me or happened to people that I loved. That's if I think about all of it, especially when my nephew died of SIDS, it's just fucking, you hold on to that stuff and it'll fucking kill you, man. Holding on to resentment, holding on to anger, and that's one of the things that's killing me. It's making my life miserable, and I'm afraid that this is one of these things that I'm going to be heart to heart. If I don't get I'm almost 50, and if I don't get my anger under control, I'm going to fucking end up dying of a heart attack. I got a healthy heart and everything, but they call stress the silent killer, man. And anger is a big thing of stress, and I've learned that part of the reason that I'm so angry is because I've had so much horrible crap happen to me. And it doesn't mean that good stuff didn't happen to me. There's good stuff in my life, but the bad things, the things kids said to you when you were growing up, the kids beating the crap out of you, like what happened to me when I was a kid, it kills you. It's hard to, I can't let it go when I just need to let it go. I know they were just kids, but it fucking hurts. It hurts right here. And I'm trying so hard to have some kind of self-esteem. And hey, music helps, but to me, this esoteric, this occult stuff, this stuff is helping me deal with some of this shit. It's helping me have some kind of self-love, and that's really what we're trying to find This is what we're trying to find within this stuff. This is a method by which we get this shit that's in our head that's screwing us up, that's keeping us from being the best us we can be. This is what theurgy is. This is what high magic is. It is trying to take all the shit inside of you, the mental, the emotional shit, and just get that out, get rid of it, and replace it with something better. Replace it with some kind of it's kind of a psychology, but a psychology that actually works. That's not there to just make money. It's and it's something that can only be done by us. We gotta go look into ourselves, whether it's doing these rituals or doing introspective stuff like path working. We're trying to take the good parts of us and get rid of the bad parts of us and take all the stuff that's holding us back, like all this pain, all this suffering, all the things we've been through. And I mean, hey, maybe you haven't really gone through much, but you still have problems with, I don't know, mental illness. I mean, pretty much, it seems like the whole world's fucked. It's like we're all mentally screwed up, man. And this is something we need, and this is something that can be beneficial than religions that, I grew up Catholic, and it wasn't my parents, but the stuff I learned from church and from catechism and shit, it just makes you feel bad about yourself. It makes you feel bad about yourself. I mean, shit, if you're a 12, you're like a 10, 11-year-old boy, you're being told that feelings that are natural, having like lustful feelings for a girl or something, are so terrible and so bad. It's like, no, it's a natural part of going through puberty and having these feelings, and to be taught by, not by my parents, but by the church basically, and making it feel like I never, I think did confession once because I had to for catechism, so, and to be able to take my first communion, and I never once did I confess to having pure thoughts. I think that's some shit, some like pervy ass priest was like, "Ooh, tell me about your impure thoughts, fucking child molesting assholes." But anyways, I mean, I wasn't gonna do that. I didn't think I was smart enough to know that there wasn't something wrong with feeling the way I felt about girls. I mean, and there's nothing if you felt the same way. If you're a guy and you like guys, hey, that's your thing too. That's fine. But they wouldn't tell you. They told, oh, you're a sinner. Oh, fuck sin, man. There's not a such thing as sin. The only thing that's sinful is stuff that tears you apart on the inside. Sinful is listening to people tell you what's right and what's wrong when you damn near when you know deep inside you that some things are telling you that are right or wrong, and some of the things that they're saying are wrong or right. And this is, we don't need this type of confinement of spirituality under the name of religion. Okay, look into some of the holy texts and look what they have to say, but don't take it to heart. Don't take it as this is the end all of end alls. Dude, you're talking mostly about books. Most of the books, okay, Quran's a little bit newer, like still a good century, a good 1,500 years old, or 15,000. 15,000 actually. Well, no, whatever. Don't listen to me. I got my dates wrong. But anyways, because I don't know. I've read a little bit of the Quran. I don't know much about all its history. A little bit, but now the Bible, give or take a few decades or whatever. It's at the earliest books are like 2,000, close to 2,000 years ago, were written by people who didn't understand how the world worked, and they made it into these things. And you might say, hey, Chris, well, don't you do work with angels in your magic? It's like, yeah, but I believe there's different takes on what those are. And when we're doing um, the hexagram rituals and the pentagram rituals, we're not really, say, invoking actual angels. Now, whether there are angels or not is a whole different thing. Like, what I've heard, what I've understood is that, okay, we're visualizing these aspects of what they would call angels or whatever, but we're really externalizing what's internal. We're taking things that are part of us and we're fragmenting them in a way to give these forms to them. And then why we fragment these and then we put them back together into one cohesive piece. Well, I don't know that. That's just what's coming out of my head right now. So it's not like there's really angels. Okay, there might be, but when you're doing angel invocations and stuff, if there are angels, you're not actually invoking like those angels. I mean, maybe. I mean, if they actually exist and you're that to that level, but then it seems like if you were at that level, you wouldn't need to deal with that because what you have internalized will externalize. So it's kind of, well, well, that's confusing because that means, well, maybe you will, but I don't think if you got, it's like the thing of people like, oh, you could you could invoke a demon and put a curse on someone and everything like that. But by the time you get to the point where you can actually do that and can actually control it to where it doesn't kick you in the ass, you would be at a level that you wouldn't do that anyways. So it's like the same thing. Whether there's actual angels and whether people could actually control them is one thing or another, but generally by the time you get to that level you wouldn't have any need to. Because but like I'm saying, that what you're really doing is you're taking aspects of yourself, you're externalizing them, you're giving them form so you can work through them and take what's good and check out what's bad and bring in more stuff that's good to, because the whole point of this, the whole point of theurgy is you're taking yourself, you're taking the raw material, which is yourself, and you're doing stuff, you're taking that energy and you're manipulating it and you're putting it in forms, and as you're doing this you're beginning to understand yourself, and as you change, the world around you will change. You can, and I mean, the more people that do this and the more people that become, the better the earth will become. I mean, that's what I've heard. I mean, I don't know this, all of this for a fact. Like I said, it's 3 years, 3 years of lots of study and doing magic every day. But I don't know everything. There's a lot I don't know. I'm just in the beginning of these things, and I mean, I got to get out of my comfort zone right now. I know I'm like, dude, I've got to get to where I'm doing these rituals to the fullest extent. Like, I do that at like when I'm invoking the angels of the zodiac. I'm not really visualizing them. I just visualize the colors and stuff. You're supposed to visualize the like zodiacal symbols and everything and all that. And I'm not doing that, and I've got to get into that more. And I'm just sometimes I have times where I kind of backpedal. You know, I'll be doing something, and then whatever I'm doing in the rituals, whatever things, it's like it's too much, and I have to go back and change it. And the whole thing is what they give you in the books and the stuff. It's a framework. It's a framework to kind of go by, but you're gonna get to a certain point where you have to break out of that framework in order to do things better for you, to alter things and change things, and to be able to, because not it's not a one size fits all thing. It's not you do this and it works, everything works well forever. No, it doesn't. And sometimes you're gonna have to make changes in it, or sometimes you'll make changes and it'll work good for a while and then it backfires and ends up making your emotions more stirred up. But I know I'm making this a long video. I wasn't really planning on doing this because nobody likes the long videos, but, and I don't even know what to call this because I'm just blabbing on and on. But yeah, whatever works for you. I mean, whether it's like I said, Wicca or um, chaos magic, or but with me, I mean, I can see some things in that can can be used for that, but I don't really like Wicca thing. It's not for me. It's just not for me, and I don't see how. To me, I am more concerned with changing myself and becoming more of a spiritual person, and I don't see how. Um, my brain doesn't put it together. I don't see how mixing a bunch of herbs up and stuff, and like there's some stuff like I get some rituals and stuff from all these other things, but I mean, for me, I just don't think making a bunch of love potions and crap is gonna enlighten me, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not saying everybody needs to be enlightened, and believe me, this type of magic is not for everybody, man. As for some people, I mean, for some people, it's just gonna be a disaster. It's not for everybody. This is a path that I'm not trying to convert anybody or bring anyone over to doing what I'm doing, because this shit is hard, man. It is. You have to look yourself in the face, and you got to see someone. Even if you think you're a good person, you start seeing things about you that are may disgust you about yourself. There's things you're gonna see about the world. You're basically like supercharging your brain, man. We're starting to see things in the world that you didn't normally see before, and you're gonna have some existential crisis. Like, this is what started me even talking about magic, because I had to, like, I made this video about having an existential crisis, and I didn't really I did my best not to make it seem like anything mystical, but it very much was. It was sitting there realizing that the world I around me isn't the world I think it is, and that the things that used to make me happy in the world just seemed like a waste. And so, well, and you're gonna have times where you're gonna feel like you're losing your fucking mind. That simple thing of feeling like life had no meaning, and that people were just brainwashed, running around, just spinning their wheels. It killed me, man. I was having a really hard time for a while, and I mean, I'm gonna try to make this short. Get down to it. Basically, isn't it? Wasn't the pill he took that helped bring him out of the matrix the red pill? So it's basically taking the red pill. So you gotta decide if if ceremonial magic, if um, high magic, what do I call it? What do we call it? Come on, I forgot again. Oh, theurgy. you, you gotta make a decision if you really want to do this, because you're never gonna see things the same. And then once you see them, you can't unsee yourself. You can't come out of the matrix and go back into the matrix and think that everything's gonna be fine, because it's not. I mean, it never was. That's the whole thing. It never was fine. You're gonna start realizing that this world isn't such a wonderful place. And well, I mean, some of us already knew it in the first place. So we're reaching out for something else that's not of the world that rejected us, the world that punched us in the face. And it's not about getting revenge. And that's the whole thing. That's the thing, is trying to forgive people who did bad things to you, who hurt you because they were stupid kids, or they're just jerks. Some people are just jerks, and you know, you gotta forgive those people, and you gotta forgive yourself. You gotta forgive yourself, because you didn't do anything wrong. When you were bullied, when you were beat up, when people were just mean to you for no reason, you didn't deserve that. You don't deserve that. So forgive yourself. You didn't do anything to deserve that crap. So, you know, and let it go. Let it go. If you're in your 30s or your 50s or whatever, yeah, sure, it still hurts me and I think that, but don't sit there thinking, plotting your revenge or whatever, because that's not going to help anybody. And it's not helping you. It means you're holding on too much. I was bullied in elementary school by this guy that was the popular guy, and he had a bunch of friends, and him and his friends beat the crap out of me. And I mean, the guy, if he was here, if the guy heard this, I'm talking about, he'd know who he is. And you know what I tell him? Hey, man, it's all good. I mean, it's not all good, but you were a kid. We were kids. Kids do stupid crap. And I forgive you. And I forgive myself because, kids can be cruel. Couldn't be cruel, man. And the thing we got to think about is not becoming cruel adults. We need to not become the people we hated. Don't become all bitter and shit because people treated us badly. And I still get it. I still get it. I'll still have some. Sometimes I'm looking at some of the damn comments people give me, and I just erase them. And it's like, are you serious? Oh, what drugs are you on? Oh, blah blah blah. Are you sucking on crystals because you're voodoo? Whatever, man. Just if you don't like what I'm saying, just keep it to yourself and fucking move on. Don't be a fucking troll. I mean, pretty much trolls are people who never fucking got out of being a bully, or things that are the people who are so brave that they can talk shit to a random person on file. Okay, so on file online. Yeah. So, I mean, and hey, man, the thing is you might feel like a weirdo or like you don't fit in. Everybody's a weirdo, and everybody doesn't fit in. They just think they do. And this is the whole thing. The one thing I feel about how people bullied me and how people treated me because I didn't wear the right things, or I didn't dress a certain way, or I didn't do this or do that or act like this. Well, it's freed me, man. It's freed me because I don't have to have some fashion. I'm wearing a beat up Goonies shirt, man. I don't care. So, I don't know. It looked like it froze up. Maybe it's just. Alright, so this is probably going to take forever to upload. And so, you might want to check out the video that the comment came from. It's on the whatchamacallit, the Aleister Crowley tarot deck and the Lon Milo DeQuette book. So you might want to check that out. And why don't you go ahead and, while you're here, subscribe, and why don't you share it with some people that you think may appreciate certain things. And I'd like to just say, hey man, I really wish some of you guys would check out some of my stuff about the Israel-Palestine conflict, which is really just Israel's massacre of the Palestinian people. Their freaking genocide that's been going on for fucking 70 something 80 years. And just fine, if you don't like it, that's fine. If it bores you, if whatever, but really look into that. Look at the stuff, and I mean, maybe look some of the things up, because you gotta realize that everything, and this is how it's always been, what you think about what's going on in the world isn't really always what's going on in the world. And what the news tells you the most is not always what's going on, because the news has become just the mouthpiece for the government, and you have to go to independent media to where somebody is not basically just saying whatever the government tells you. Not that I'm not an anti-government person, but when it's something like the Palestinian crisis shit, that they've been lying to us since the inception of Israel, which for what some people believe is it has not been going on thousands of years, because the state of Israel is not even 100 years old. But anyways, okay, well, whatever. If you check that out, don't. If you do, check out some of my music maybe. But go ahead and subscribe if you like even this stuff, because Obviously, this is what's popular, but I still may only get 5 views because it's long. So let me get off of here. All right, stop capture. I'll see you guys around.